All right, let's dive into something you've probably seen popping up everywhere, coming soon homes. They're sold to us as this amazing, exclusive opportunity. But is that really the case? Or is it a huge gamble for everyone involved, both buyers and sellers? We're going to break it all down.
I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? A secret look at a house before it hits the market? In a competitive world, that sounds like a golden ticket. But here's the thing. What's the catch? What are the hidden costs of getting that exclusive first look?
Okay, so let's start with the sales pitch. What's the promise here? Why is this whole preview listing idea so incredibly appealing to, well, pretty much everyone?
So just so we're all on the same page, what exactly are we talking about? These are homes being marketed privately, inside a single real estate company or on a specific portal before they ever show up on the public multiple listing service, the MLS.
And here's the fairy tale they spin. For buyers, you're getting a leg up on the competition. For sellers, you get to control the whole process. Sounds perfect, right? A total win-win.
But hold on. Industry expert Vanessa Bergmark has a very different take. She calls it a disingenuous ruse. Wow, that's a pretty powerful statement, basically saying that this entire promise is, well, a lie.
So where's the gamble in all this? Let's pull back that curtain and see what's really going on, the actual risks for the very people these listings are supposed to help. Okay, so you see the promise on one side and the reality on the other. That buyer's edge you were promised, it turns into making a decision with incomplete, sometimes missing data. That seller control, it's really just creating a fake sense of urgency. And that amazing exclusivity, all it really means is you're playing in a tiny, limited market. And for buyers, this idea of incomplete data is a huge deal. We're talking about missing some really critical stuff. The property's history, how long it's been for sale, its price history, even good, solid, comparable sales. You're basically being asked to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life with one hand tied behind your back.
The source we're looking at puts it so bluntly, it's kind of shocking. They say the end result is that you, the buyer, become an uninformed pawn. Think about that. You're being pushed to make a snap decision before the house goes public, but you don't have the information you need to figure out what it's actually worth. And hey, sellers aren't getting a free pass here. They're taking a huge gamble too. When you only show your home to a tiny, hand-picked group of people, how can you possibly know what the real demand is, what the true market price could be? It really is like choosing to fish in a tiny pond when the entire ocean is right there. So when you put it all together, all this pressure with so little information, it usually ends in one of two ways. Either the buyer overpays or the seller walks away with less money than they should have. Trying to find that sweet spot, the true market value, it becomes nearly impossible.
And you have to ask, right? This raises a huge ethical question for the professionals pushing these systems. Why would you knowingly put your own clients, whether they're buying or selling, in such a risky, vulnerable spot?
Which of course leads to the million-dollar question. If it's not great for buyers or sellers, then who is benefiting from all this? Because this is about so much more than just one home sale. This is a battle for control over real estate information itself. So let's look at the two systems head to head. On one side, you've got the good old MLS. It's designed to be a neutral foundation, right? Standardized data, equal access for all agents. But on the other side, you have these private platforms. These are controlled ecosystems. They get to decide what data you see, and they can use their own proprietary metrics to value things. And here's the key takeaway. When you start bypassing those safeguards that the MLS provides, it's not just that the market gets broken up into little pieces. No, what you actually get is manipulation. You're creating a system where one entity has all the power.
I love this metaphor. Our source calls it the nightclub velvet rope effect. It works in 3 steps. First, you restrict access. You put up that velvet rope and keep the listings inside your own exclusive club. Second, you create fake demand because everyone wants to get behind the rope. That exclusivity makes it seem more valuable. And the final step? The platform isn't just measuring demand anymore, it's actively shaping it. It's influencing what homes are worth.
Okay, but there's one more really important piece of this puzzle that often gets ignored. What does all of this mean for the real estate agent? The person who's supposed to be your independent guide through all of this. What happens is the agent's role, it just changes. It's subtle, but it's huge. They stop being this independent advisor, the strategist working for you.
Instead, they become a gatekeeper. Their main job is just to get you access to the platform. They become a participant, not a guide. A piece in a system they don't even control.
I mean, just think it through for a second. If one single platform has the listing, the mortgage, the title, the entire transaction, where does that leave the agent? Their independence just shrinks. They're not your advocate anymore. They're just a cog in the machine.
So what does this all boil down to? We're at a crossroads, really. We have to decide what kind of future we want for real estate. Are we pushing for a truly advanced market, or are we just building a more controlled one?
Because let's be honest, real estate has always worked best under a simple set of principles. Maximum exposure for sellers, consistent data for everyone, and a shared, clear understanding of what's happening in the market. It's not about secrets.
And that brings us to the final verdict here. This whole strategy of keeping listings off the open market to build up a private platform, that's not innovation. That is not an advanced marketplace. It's a controlled marketplace, plain and simple.
So I'll leave you with this final, critical question to think about. In a world where one platform controls the listing, the data, the financing, the whole shebang, who is really looking out for you, the consumer? Thanks for tuning in.